Okay, today we're on 8-7, factoring special cases. This is part 2. So if you have not watched part 1 yet, you need to do that before watching this video. So today we're talking about the difference of two squares. A difference of two squares have two characteristics. Basically, it's a polynomial, but it's going to be considered a difference of two squares if, one, there are two terms and one is subtracted from the other, and both terms are perfect squares. So right here we have 4x squared minus 9. This is an example of a difference of two squares, and here's why. One, there are only two terms. Here's the first term and the other term, and they're being subtracted from each other. So that's a big clue that you might have a difference of two squares. So next, we take a look at those terms, and they are both perfect squares. 4x squared is a perfect square, and so is 9. And that's because 2x times 2x is 4x squared, and 3 times 3 is 9. So those are perfect squares. So once we determine that, we can write a binomial with opposite signs. So you're going to take a 2x and a 3, and you're going to write 2x plus 3, and then 2x subtract 3. If you go ahead and FOIL those, you'll notice that your two middle terms end up being opposite signs, so they cancel each other out, and you come right back to the original starting point of your polynomial. So right here then, here is our factored form, and that would be our answer. Let's take a look at an example where we might have to factor out a common factor first. So in this example, we know we might have a difference of two squares because one, we only have two terms and they are being subtracted from each other. But 108 and 147, those are not perfect squares. However, they have a common factor of 3. So if we factor out that 3, and I can check that by just distributing the 3 and making sure that I come back to this polynomial, then I notice I do have two terms that are perfect squares. Both the 36 and the 49 are perfect squares. So I can go ahead and continue and take the perfect square of 36 and 49, which are 6 and 7. Don't forget you do have that C that needs to go next to your 6. So once I've factored out the 3, I have a 3 here, and then I have my two binomials. So if I want to check my answer, I can go ahead and distribute that 3 to this first binomial. I end up with 18c plus 21. Then I can go ahead and FOIL, and there's my two middle terms that are going to cancel out because they have opposite signs, and I get right back to that original polynomial. So my answer then would be right here, as I have factored out the 3, and then I came up with my two binomials. Everything beneath this is just a check. So if you would like to practice some, I leave you with a practice sheet. There are problems numbers 5 through 16. These are all difference of two squares type problems. Notice that they all have two terms and they are subtraction problems. This is how you can identify them quickly. So complete these problems in your notebook for practice, and then tomorrow we'll do some online homework. All right, I hope you're having a good day.